Found out my husband was cheating on me and my stepdaughter helped him hide it. So I used her college fund for myself, filed for divorce and left them. Now they're begging me to reconcile. Hi, Reddit. I need your help right now because I'm in a very bad situation with my stepdaughter and I have no idea what to do. So for context, I, 42F, have been with my soon-to-be ex-husband, David, 44M, for 15 years. And out of those 15 years, we have been married for 10 and I have loved him more than anybody in this world. He also has a daughter, Stacy, 17F, from a previous relationship. He and Stacy's mother were never married. They had only had a short fling for about a couple of months, but then, she got pregnant and she decided to keep the baby, but they had broken up just a couple of weeks before she realized she was pregnant. They had decided to have a cordial relationship after that so they could co-parent the baby later and there were not really any feelings involved. However, she unfortunately passed away when Stacy was just 6 months old in a car accident. And after that, it was just him and his daughter. He had told me in the beginning of our relationship that he was not just looking for a wife, but he was also looking for somebody who would be a good mother to Stacy, and I was up for it because I loved kids and she was really young at the time. Stacy was just 2 years old, and I honestly didn't care that he had a daughter. I was ready to accept her as my own and raise her like that. Right from the beginning, I had been very serious about our relationship, and after 5 years of dating, we decided to get married. Our life had its ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I always thought that he loved me just as much as I loved him. I had absolutely no reason to believe that he might have been cheating on me because even up until a couple of months ago, we had been talking about celebrating our 10th marriage anniversary with a family trip to some exotic place and he had been pretty excited about it. People who cheat on their wives don't act that excited about a trip with their family, so I really hadn't seen this coming. Anyway, about 6 days ago, I found out that he had been cheating on me for the past 7 months with his coworker. I had just been at work, minding my own business, when I received an email from said coworker. It had all the details of their affair, and she had even attached proof of text conversations, phone calls, and even pictures of them together at places on days that he had told me he would be away for business trips. But those trips were really just romantic getaways with his affair partner, which I had no idea about. I was in shock when I received that email, and I went home immediately, not knowing what else to do. Nobody was at home at the time because Stacy was spending the day with her friend and David was at work. So I took the time to reread those emails very carefully once again because I did not want to have a breakdown at work, and I realized that she had also attached her phone number, in case I wanted to speak to her. She had told me that the reason she was doing this and coming clean to me about the affair was that she knew that David would never do that and she felt like I deserved to know the truth. Apparently, for the last few months, he had been promising her that he would tell me the truth and anything with me because she was not comfortable going around having an affair with a married man. I guess her conscience had kicked in all of a sudden or whatever, but anyway, apparently David had been promising her that he was going to tell me the truth, and I even had screenshots of that. He had told her that he was going to end the marriage with me and be with her wholeheartedly now. She had believed him the first few times, but then, it had been almost 3 months and he still hadn't told me, so she had decided to take matters into her own hands and tell me the truth herself. After reading that email in its entirety, I decided to think about it for a while, and then, I went ahead and called her because the worst had already happened. I was still kind of in denial, so I felt that maybe speaking to her would make me realize that this was not some prank, it was really happening. So when I spoke to her, she started off by apologizing to me and said that she really did not have any intention of ruining my marriage, but she had just fallen in love with David and that's really the reason why she was telling me the truth. And then, she went on to explain how the affair had started, how long it had been going on, and all the promises that he had made to her, which were the same promises that he had made to me in the initial stages of our relationship. My heart just kept breaking more and more with every word that she said to me, and by the end of that conversation, I was convinced that there could be nothing more heartbreaking than that conversation. But then, she told me that apparently Stacy had also known about all of this all along and had been helping him cover up his tracks. That's what absolutely shattered me because in my head, I had always been Stacy's mother, and I had never thought of her as a stepdaughter. I had known that girl since she was 2 years old and had raised her as my own, so knowing that she had also betrayed me felt like the end of the world, honestly. His coworker let me know that apparently, every time he would need to lie to me or cover up for me, Stacy would make up excuses for his absence and why he was not picking up his calls. In exchange for keeping her mouth shut, he would buy her several expensive gifts, and that explained a lot of things that had been happening recently, like David had been totally spoiling her and that hadn't been the case before. But I just thought that he was doing well at work, which is why he was trying to buy her nice things. He had also given me a lot of jewelry and clothes, so I had just assumed that this new habit of giving us gifts so frequently was because of how he was doing at work, but I guess not. Anyway, getting to know that Stacy had also been a part of this and had even met her father's affair partner several times and had kept it a secret from me all along, broke me even more than knowing that David had been cheating on me. So after that phone call, I decided to pack up my things and move out of that house because I just did not want to stay there anymore and wait for the two of them to come back home because I felt betrayed and I just couldn't even stop crying. I did not want to give David the satisfaction of seeing me like that, so I packed up a couple of things and then drove to a hotel out of town and turned my phone off because I honestly did not want to be contacted by anybody. I was very upset that day and just drank myself to sleep in the hotel room. The next morning, I finally had to turn my phone back on because I had to call in sick to work and I realized that I had about 1,000 unanswered texts and missed calls from David and Stacy, but I did not feel like responding to any of that. But I also noticed that I had one unread text from this guy at the car dealership whom I had been talking to because I had been planning on buying a new car. The reason I had been holding back so far was that I wanted to save some more money before I purchased it since it was pretty expensive. And I also had that anniversary trip to look forward to, so I had been saving for that and Stacy's 17th birthday was also coming up, which is why I had been thinking about gifting her a new car instead of buying one for myself. Anyway, when I saw that text, I remembered how I had been planning on giving Stacy a car for her birthday, and it just filled me with so much rage. And in a moment of anger, I decided that I was just going to focus on making myself happy without caring about anybody else. The guy from the car dealership had texted me to ask me if I was still planning on buying the car that I had selected, and so, on an impulse, I decided to go down to the place immediately myself and bought myself a shiny new luxury car. I did not have any plans of buying that car since it was way out of my budget, but I did not need to worry because for the past 10 years, ever since I married David, I had been saving up and setting aside a college fund for my stepdaughter. I had decided to give Stacy access to that account as a surprise whenever announced which college she was going to be attending and had been pretty excited about it. But now that I knew what had been going on for the past couple of months, I had no interest in surprising anybody apart from myself. So I used money from that account to buy myself a luxury car, and then I decided to drive it down to our house and finally confront my husband and my stepdaughter. They tried to hug me and tell me how worried they were the entire night as soon as I showed up, but I didn't even give them a second, and I immediately